India-Bangladesh 50 Years of Friendship Program. To start with, I want to request everyone, please stand up and show respect to the national anthem of America and Bangladesh. Moving forward, now we will be playing a video of our Canadian University, Bangladesh. Can we have the video on the screen, please?
In this era of globalization, every student deserves to have academic opportunities up to the international standard. The aim is to prepare distinguished and creative professionals
students in the coming days.
To meet the challenges of being competitive in a global environment, Canadian University of Bangladesh has designed its teaching methodologies, curriculums and campus facilities for inspiring applied knowledge among its students. Canadian University of Bangladesh is easily accessible at Bir Uttam Rafiqul Islam Avenue off Probati Shorty in the heart of Dhaka city. The university occupies a modern, student-friendly, iconic, state-of-the-art campus equipped with spacious, multimedia-supported classrooms with interactive online facility, laboratories featuring cutting-edge technologies and equipment, a media-enriched library, student lounge, and other modern amenities.
The campus provides us diverse range of cultural, social and recreational activities for students.
With so many choices, we get to learn about new skills, sport and discover talents we never knew we had. And make friendship that create memories that we can cherish for a lifetime.
I'm Nimo Mohammed, all the way from Somaliland. I'm a student of Canadian University of Bangladesh. It's one of the best universities in Bangladesh.
Innovation and Commercialization Center for Entrepreneurship Development, High Impact IoT Research Lab, and 18 research cells ensure quality research in the university.
Canadian University of Bangladesh provides Canadian standard application-based education to its students. This is the first university to implement application-based education in Bangladesh.
On the campus, you can also play sports, enjoy an unforgettable rooftop cafe experience. Immersed in the library, participate in club activities and much more.
Canadian University of Bangladesh employs experienced and highly qualified faculty members from internationally accredited universities of the world to build an exciting diversity of talent. Our prominent faculty members are intellectually adventurous scholars coming from both the academia and the industry. So this is going to be a great place for them.
The Toronto's office of the university serves as the global liaison for international credit transfer, student mobility and exchange, international internships and job placements.
We never compromise for the quality. We hire international faculties from abroad and at the same time faculties from Dhaka University, Kuwait and the top private universities.
In order to facilitate on-campus jobs, internships and job placements, Canadian University of Bangladesh collaborates with eminent organizations across coveted sectors, including banks, multinational companies, and government organizations.
Canadian বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় যথেষ্ট দক্ষ যোগ্য অভিজ্ঞ ফ্যাকাল্টি মেম্বার নিয়োগ করেছে যে নিয়োগে আমি সম্পৃক্ত ছিলাম।
The university also facilitates training in collaboration with JICA and BCC to prepare skilled graduates for the international industries. Canadian University of Bangladesh aims to nurture the talents of its students with utmost priority.
I'm working on that. University is the best place to become good at human relations.
It provides stipends, result-based scholarships, merit-based scholarships, freedom fighters scholarships, and a range of financial aid to deserving students throughout their student life cycle. With an ambitious vision, long-term strategic planning, thoughtful work plan, intelligent workforce, and assistance from all our stakeholders.
Our students live in that same world. Every student deserves an opportunity to make himself, herself competitive in this globalized environment. Canadian University has spent a good deal of time, effort, and money to configure its facilities, its faculty, its academic programs, so that we can deliver our promise to make them all competitive.
Canadian University of Bangladesh is aiming to build its legacy in the field of higher education in Bangladesh. Canadian University of Bangladesh, inspiring applied knowledge.
Whoa, that's an amazing glimpse of our university, explaining its beauty and its growth. Today we have with us the guest panel, ASM Mainuddin Munem, Managing Director, Abdul Munem Group. We also have Shamul Hassan Khan, Executive Chairman of Canadian University of Bangladesh. We have Dr. Chaudhry Nafis Sharafat, Founder and Chairman of Canadian University of Bangladesh. And as the chief guest and keynote speaker, we have William Bill Bocher, President of ICPC World Final. ICPC Foundation makes sure future generations from universities all over the world will have the option to pursue excellence in the art and science of computing with their peers. In 2018, the ICPC served over 50,000 students from 3,200 universities in 115 countries. Bill Bocher is best known for playing a major role in the ASEAN International Collegiate Programming Contest, for which he continues to serve as Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer. He has worked with industry to provide funding and resources for the university educational community. Currently, he heads the Competitive Infrastructure Initiative for advancing the art of programming globally, especially through sports programming. I would like to request everyone to have the seat, please. Thank you.
Where would you like me to sit?
Thank you, everyone. Without any further ado, we will proceed with the final session, or start with the formal session. I would humbly request Shamul Hassan Khan, Executive Chairman of Canadian University of Bangladesh, to deliver the welcome speech.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest of today's event, the President of ICPC, Honorable Professor Bill Bocher. Welcome to Canadian University. Our special guest of today's event, and we call him a very honorable big brother, and the best well-wisher that this institution can have, Mr. Mainuddin Monem, the one veteran businessman of Bangladesh, the managing director of Abdul Monem Group. We are also very glad and pleased to have him here. And of course, there are other senior dignitaries and the guests I can see at the front row, our university senior faculty members, the management team, and most importantly, the students, who have been waiting for quite a long time. We apologize for the delay, but so glad to see your faces early in the morning. Thank you for, giving your time and just attending this event. As you probably get a little confused seeing some of the different photos and seeing ourselves in the stage, this chairman is a little delayed, and that's when actually the vice chairman or the executive chairman comes into the picture, and that's how it should be. The chairman is very busy, doing national things, but he'll be here anytime. So by that time, I have been given this opportunity to, probably you can call it as a filler, or try to utilize the time. But once I was given the opportunity, I thought that the topic was so exciting that 50 years of friendship, what we call with USA, one of our most friendliest nation, what we always see ourselves. I thought it would be easy to speak about it from the heart. I'll be very honest, Professor Bill. So not prepared, but I'll try to touch base some of the points as a citizen where we feel every time. Well, 50 years is a long time. It will take probably 50 days to cover up what is the contribution of USA in the growth of Bangladesh. But if we probably touch base on the critical ones, I would like to share some of the critical points. First is, Bangladesh is considered as the most friendliest nation in the South Asia for USA. That's the data says, that's the history says, and that's the foreign policy says. For USA and Bangladesh is the most friendliest nation in the South Asia. That's how we are considered, and we are happy and blessed with that. Now, to talk about the individual specific contribution, we knew that what terrorism is. We are all afraid and scared of it. The fact is, once the government or the Bangladesh policymakers think of putting a anti-terrorism step and absolute no to terrorism, USA was the first country to extend their hand, and they have been helping us like anything to ensure that there is no to terrorism. So we are again extremely happy that they came forward, and we could very nicely and efficiently handle it so far. No citizens of Bangladesh want terrorism in a country like us. We are a friendly nation. Now, talking about others, climate change, that obviously our government is extremely serious about this topic. Our leader, our Prime Minister, has been doing a lot of commitments. She is committed to this initiative, but of course we need bigger countries like US to give us the way and support us, and we are working very closely with their support, financially, morally, and with all other means. Again, we talk about peacekeeping. We know that Bangladesh has been one of the finest contributor on peacekeeping. As we call ourselves as a friendly nation, so wherever our peacekeepers go, our forces visit, we know that we are loved by everybody. We are loved by every country's citizens. They create a landmark there. They become part of their family. But the initial opportunity, once it's given to us, it is pretty much the US who has been playing a very critical role, and we are extremely glad for that. And US being the largest export market for Bangladesh, and we talk about our RNG, our fish exports, leather, they are consuming the highest exports from Bangladesh, and that's a great blessing. That's a great blessing for the economy of Bangladesh. They're silently doing it. We talk about Europe, other new markets, but they have been there, and they're still there with us. Talking about human rights, democracy, establishing good governance, They have been holding hands with the government, with our country, and we are always happy and blessed for their kind support, what they have been doing so far. And as we talk about human rights and putting the right governance, there are things like best practice exchange on armed forces and the security forces. We talk about the SWAT, the high efficient security team. The entire brainchild was US, and they have given the support to form up this team. So again, this will never end. As I said, you may take 50 days to cover all their contribution, but I'm just touching base on the critical ones. But being a small country, we were also trying to contribute a little bit to the US. So I think many of us know the exciting story. Our honorable architect of Bangladesh, the F.R. Khan, who designed the, at one point in time, the largest tower, which is the Sears Tower, is, designed by the Bangladeshi. And, that deserves a clap as well, right? So it is not one-sided, it's going, both the sides, and, that makes us proud. Of course, we are in education, institution route now, and who knows better that US is one of the biggest influencer, to make sure the highest level of educational standards. We follow the North American educational standard, and for doing that, they have been doing a lot of engagement with local universities, sharing best practices, and also giving a lot of exciting scholarship to take the talents from here, groom them, and do better for the country. So I think I'm almost at the end of it. Now we talk about health. On the health, the recent phenomena was the COVID. We have all seen that, and I guess we all will be happy. And I believe many of us don't know that U.S. government was the highest donor, for us getting everybody, every citizen vaccinated. They were the highest donor so far in Bangladesh, to handle this COVID scenario. So these are the silent support we have been always getting from U.S. government, and what better can be having a fantastic 50 years friendship with the U.S. government. So from the health, I move to another crisis, which is the Rohingya issue. We welcome them, but the crisis was quite big. But again, to handle that, you require a lot of funds and the financial supports. U.S. government has been one of the highest donors, to support this crisis. And that's again, we remain grateful that, it's not only the development. Once you're at trouble, once you're at crisis, they come forward and, show their friendship. That's what matters at the end of the day. I think, finally, we call it a digital era. And especially once COVID came into the picture, we have seen and clearly experienced how important the IT era is. And for the development of ICT and the IT development, whatever best practices needs to be shared, US has been one of the pioneers for doing that as well. And again, in all the sectors, if you see the 360 degree, what are the growth areas, crisis areas to be supported, and they were always there, and that's what I call a true friendship. So I finish my speech like that, and once again welcome Professor Bill, for giving his time. We look forward to hear it from him today, and of course our respected Mainuddin Bhai, they'll share a lot of things with their experience and their knowledge and wisdom. And over to them, and my speech ends. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words and efforts for making Canadian University better every other day. Now, I would like to request our special guest, ASM Mainuddin Monem, Managing Director of Abdul Monem Group, to deliver his amazing speech. Our Honorable Chairman came, so please give an round of applause to welcome him.
How are you? Thank you so much for coming.
We welcome Mr. Mahmoud Rahman Behithia with us. Let's have a big round of applause for him.
So just he's our chief of, the investigation. Thank you. So this is why it was a dream come. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Just take your leave.
Now, I would like to request our special guest, SM Mainuddin Munim, Managing Director, Abdul Munim Group, to deliver his valuable speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Very good morning to you all, the bright young stars of Bangladesh. With nobody less than, my friend just mentioned a very quote that dream comes true, less than a great friend, Bill Poacher, who is nobody less than a person I call a mentor for me. I already have introduced for a few minutes, and I could realize he has brought in serious experience and wisdom to Bangladesh. And with that, my respected Mahmoud Bhai, CID, in charge DIG of Bangladesh, a very respected person who is a man of discipline, and nobody less than a very, I call it discerned and also quiet, but a true leader of the area of business, Nafish Karafat, who is leading from the front of this university. Let me take a very light vein of things, because I was overwhelmed. 12 o'clock at night, I was invited. My sister told me that I have to come here. Nafiz Bhai invited, so we have to go. Anything Nafiz Bhai tells, we have to do it, because it's very important. Then I said, yeah, okay, I'll go, no problem. Then 9:30 in the morning, I'm told I'm the special guest. So imagine that I'm under tremendous pressure, especially when you speak in front of Bill and Mahmoud, all of you students. You want to hear something meaningful. So I was thinking, what should I say that will make sense this morning? But nonetheless, I take the privilege and honor and the respect bestowed on me and my family and the company by the Vice Chancellor, who was sitting in front, very respected person, that let me share in a very, very mundane and very simplistic way of I feel of this occasion. Two things here tonight. One is 50 years of friendship, and other thing is the ICPC Foundation, two very important issue today. And I try to use my experience of life. What do I take from here? And I see more than 100 brains will be here, very bright young brains. I tried to count the numbers, but I could not for the Peter, but I think close to 100 people sitting in this room now. So let me tell all of you one thing. Would you mind to raise your hand? How many of you have visited United States of America? How many in this room? Tell me how many visited US, has seen the US in person? Nobody. But through media and through the bit of technology you have seen, right? You know US. Have you seen the last tagline on the national anthem of US? What did it say? The last tagline in the national anthem. Home of the brave, right? Right? That should be my professor, my statement today, my speech today. This should actually be a tagline. Let me tell you one thing. People talk about US-Bangladesh relationship and it hovers around economic ties, security, many issues. But I will not get into any of this in depth, but I have to take one opportunity for Kenya University. I thank Kenya University to invite me on this auspicious occasion, and I try to focus on education and skill development, how this thing can bring these two great countries together for the future. Nonetheless, garments being our forte for the country, our lifeline, is highest export 90% to US, almost $7 billion. $7 billion the number. Even then, I will leave it aside and come to academia, I think most befitting here this afternoon. Let me share one thing, which I have said many times, that Professor, do you know that, Professor Bill, I entered USA, I think the great thing my mother has done for me. In our times in Bangladesh, education used to be, it should take a longer period to graduate than otherwise, because certain qualifications were there. So my mother allowed me to go to Boston. So 1986, 3rd January, 12:30 in the afternoon, I landed Boston Logan Airport. I remember the day and the time. It was a very cold day, but the moment I entered and touched the runway by the 77 jet, I realized I'm up for a big challenge. And all of you sitting in this room this morning, I tell you, all of you have a challenge like I had 30 years ago. In Boston, I went and entered a beautiful country. And as I entered, the clock started ticking for my life, and I will share some of those what I have learned and experienced my academic and my professional life in the US. And secondly, I would like to share a small bit of story of ICPC, that this great institution, which I call it is a synonym for excellence in education. It was a bill I meant from my heart, because we have come back to Bangladesh, brought the torch back from US, and learned that the home of the brave. We also got independence by the shed of blood. That is home of independence in Bangladesh also, home of the brave. Both US and Bangladesh is common thread that you can talk. So, if I talk about the US-Bangladesh friendship, what do I mean by that? And if I talk ICPC, what do I mean by that? Just two things I will share with this young minds this afternoon. I think take back with you for your future to be somewhat, I would say, to shed some light on your career that you are here this afternoon. And I thank Kenya University to make such a beautiful arrangement for your campus, that I have seen your next campus that will be going to, also a brilliant move by the board of trustee chairman. I thank you for it, that you have a visionary view on the university. A beautiful campus, just 25 kilometers from here. First thing I start with of the relationship with US-Bangladesh. And my experience as a student, like you are sitting in this room now, we sat the same hall when I entered Boston some 35 years ago. And that's the memory took me back when I entered the room. It reaches my mind that have I become 35 years younger than I am now? I can't believe physically, but mentally I am. And that is, every individual must have this in mind, that you students must think one thing very important, that is that there is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship. Who said this quote? Thomas Aquinas. Friendship is something that you must bond and build from here in Kenya University, all of you here. And this should build your career going forward. And I remember the day I entered Boston, the best and the brightest people I met in my life, and the most committed and respectful people I met, started my journey at the age of 19 when I was in Boston. And all of you here this afternoon, you have people around you, same best and the brightest of Bangladesh. You have people around here who can guide and mentor you like we have mentored 35 years ago. What US has to offer to us at that time, we have been able to explore the best education of the world, and we have been able to appreciate what they have to offer to us and bring it back to Bangladesh. Like Nafi Sharafat, a great example, somebody who has taken the best of Canada and brought back to Bangladesh, and imagine in the span of 20 years what he could build. A great individual, I always look at him and I see that the success that he brought in, some people accomplish the success by observing it, some does by doing it. And that is what I say, that the global world that has become now borderless world, it is not that you are in Bangladesh today. And I said, raise your hand. Why did I say? It's important to visit the country, but now the world, the power of technology can take you anywhere and everywhere in the world in a glitch of a second. So you must imagine, when we went to US in 1986, we didn't have the technology. It cost me $11 per minute to call my mother those days. My mother used to cry, to talk to me. I couldn't afford to call her, so I used to call every other day for a minute and cut the line. I couldn't say my mother, it costs $11 per minute, AT&T. Bell Labs. So see what technology has done, and it has only been possible because of friendship that we enjoy around the globe, because this technology made it possible, and innovated and invented by US and many parts of the world. Is called Silicon Valley of Microsoft of the world, Google's of the world, Facebook of the world. Look at the good things about it. You can talk to your sister who lives in Canada, to USA, in a second. So that is what your generation now are enjoying because of friendship. Technology made available to Bangladesh that was innovated in somewhere in Texas, in California, in Washington. So that is what we have to understand. The friendship and the ties between these great nations are borderless. It is not something that you have to always visit and cultivate that. So I would request all the young minds here today that you are very fortunate to study in a university, world-class university, Canadian University, where you are exposed to best practices to make yourself ethically sound and morally sound, and at the top of it, you must be a citizen of the world, where you will represent a citizen of the world by demonstrating your qualities and your conviction of life. And there is, I'm sure, Bill will say today that what has brought him and his family. I'm very proud to know that his seventh grandfather went to Harvard, and he could remember exactly the statements he made. And I'm very much, the first introduction to him, it's like hit me at the wall. He said, wait a minute, Monem, you know, I have a big story to tell you. If you start your story to tell me. So that is called wisdom. That's what you should learn from and take every bit of lesson that he has to give us. And I tell you, Bill, one great story. When we were in the USA, we always thought of what could you bring back to Bangladesh, and we're glad to know 20 years ago, our IPPC team stood 10th in world ranking. And the team that was led was Professor Kaikobad and J.R. Sisar. Both of them are a very good teacher. Even though I'm an engineer, but I'm a mathematician in my profession at MIT for 3 years. And they brought me this challenge that how can we do better in maths in Bangladesh? Your IPC model was an impetus, an encouragement for those days that we brought Math Olympiad in Bangladesh team and auspicious of these great minds. And with that to know, we received our first gold medal in 2018. and we have been able to surpass India in 2 consecutive years. Isn't it great? See, Nafis may not realize it today. He may think his every minute counting dollars, right? But this is a bigger dollar he's counting by the university that he has done. Fine. So I will just make one last request to the audience here, that we have a big challenge for Bangladesh. Vice Chancellor, I would request you, my last statement should be this: we are not here to give long speech, we are here to hear from Bill. But my last bit of participation to all of you today, Bangladesh has a formidable challenge going forward. USA has done a great support to us in terms of security, agriculture, defense equipments. But I share my last thought with you. For Bangladesh to graduate 2041 as a developed nation, we need our best friend, United States of America. I will tell Bill, please carry this message with you as a brother, that Bangladesh is a great country of accommodation. We are the best friends of the world. We try to accommodate many things, but for us to move that position, we need US help in one area the most, and that is education and skill development. Don't give us the fish, teach us how to fish. So we need education, support, commitment, resilience, and the nation's infrastructure, predictability. All this will be happening in one bullet, and that is, you can shoot it right, aiming it right, is education and skill development. I do not see any other way this country will get to that point. If all these young minds are sitting around this room, if they contribute to the nation building, these are the future of the nation. If all of them can contribute to the bottom line, only then, I do not think one power plant of 10,000 megawatt, 50 jets, 7 economic zone will not do it. There is one bullet, and make these young minds a contributor to the nation building. And that day, our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had brilliant dream. I respect her every morning when I wake up. Digitization of Bangladesh. There's the leader of Bangladesh today, Sheikh Hasina. And she has given us this torchlight to run with it. And that is what Bangladesh has to do, and take the best from the United States of America that has said that made this country a country of testimony and country of brilliance that has produced around the world. And our Bangladesh also became better by going to the United States of America. Thank you very much. I wish Godspeed. Bill, I welcome you. I hope to see you more in Bangladesh. And your coming to Bangladesh will pave many ways open for us. Thank you very much, and enjoy Bangladesh. Thank you.
What an amazing speech. Thank you, sir. Very glad to hear from you. Now, I would like to request our guest of honor, Mr. DG CID, to give his valuable speech.
Thank you. On the occasion of American-Bangladesh 50 years of friendship, on this occasion, the chairman of Canadian University, Bangladesh, our president of ICPC, Professor Bill, and MD Moin, Abdul Momen Ikram. I can see our Honorable Vice Chancellor, faculty members, and dear students. A very good morning. Let me say especially good morning. Yeah, it's still good morning. A few minutes, 6 minutes to come. So a very good morning to you. It's my pleasure and immensely happy to be part of it indeed. Whenever I come to this university, I feel like I have gone back to my university days. And those days, I would say bygone days, which we can't forget. Though we left it many years ago, still when I come and talk to students, I feel like I'm still a student. I have forgotten my age even. So today, very happy to see our President ICPC, and also very happy to see that our Honorable Chairman of the Canadian University of Bangladesh has organized this lovely seminar type, seminar type, this discussion. And to be honest, what you are enjoying now, during our time, we didn't have those opportunities. We didn't have this kind of classrooms, we didn't have this kind of facilities, we didn't have so many amenities, but we had a determination. So we can create all those facilities to you, but it's up to you to make use of it. ICPC has created a platform. This is a worldwide platform. You can embark on it, and you have to show your own. That is this platform now, what you can see, and you see huge opportunities. And opportunities are required to have your goal, to have your vision, to have your mission. And we hope students will be encouraged from this kind of discussions to study hard, prepare yourselves for the future, to fight, future to proceed. American Bangladesh friendship, 50 years, it's not a small time, it's a long years to go. 50 years is quite a long time. And when I come to this university, I'm deeply indebted to Nafis Bhai for giving me opportunity to share my ideas, experience, knowledge to the students of this university. And whenever I come to this university, indeed, I come as a faculty member of law. I forget that I work for the government. I totally forget. If someone introduces me as a faculty member of law, I get more pride, because that is my identity while I come to this university. And while also I talk to my students, I try to share my legal knowledge, theoretical knowledge, with my practical experience. I try to make a plan, so that they can also prepare themselves. Also try to create an ambition to them, so that they also work hard, study hard. During your student life, my first advice would be to prepare yourself. And this is the part of preparation. See the people, entrepreneurs, and professors, educationalists, and all others coming forward. One day we were there, today you are here. Today you are there, someday you will be also here. But all of you can't be here. But surely some of you will be here. Who will be those some? Those who study hard and our knowledge, have determination, vision and mission, of course you'll be here. Somebody has to be here, of course you'll be here, but not all. I want the university students of this university should excel in the area of education, and if we see that some of our students are doing very good in national level and international level, it is our pride. We'll take pride. That is our contribution. We are part of it. We'll take pride in your success. In our country it is said, son is always worthier than father. What we are, we expect our students will be doing even better. What we have been doing in the national level, we expect that you will be doing good in the international level. And ICPC is a platform where you have an opportunity to run. Today, I won't take much time. With these few words, once again, I want to give thanks to our Honorable Chairman for allowing me to share my experience and knowledge with the students of this university. And also today, I was having another program, but the moment he called me and to participate, I jumped on the opportunity, because this is also an opportunity to share my ideas and experiences. So thank you once again, Mr. Chairman, and he is very hardworking, good entrepreneur. And I at times get surprised, how does he do so many things? So this is also an example. If you work hard, you can do well. In our service, we all say that your strength is your hard work. And when I was doing Bharat Law, some of my seniors say, don't leave it, stick to it, work hard, one day you can make it. I thought it was almost unsurmountable, because at the time I was serving an officer. It was very difficult for a serving officer to do that professional course. But some of my officers said, and seniors said, work hard, stick to it, and one day you can do it. And I did it. And this is a lesson for all of us, so we can also do it. And also I give thanks to Professor Abel for your making time to come to our country. And it is always better to hear, from the person really who matters. So if we say we can give example or make some of the quotations, but they'll be more inspired to see your personal presence and also hearing some of your valuable speeches. And also I give thanks to MD Monem Group. MD Monem Group is one of the most prominent groups in our country. This is also an example how can you excel. I at times get surprised to see during our time we even couldn't believe somebody has created a platform without having anything, but whole world is using that platform. Like a Facebook. Facebook doesn't give any post, but they have created a platform. Whole world is using that. This is such a wonderful, brilliant idea. Uber doesn't have any vehicle, but they created a platform. We use that platform and we are benefited. They also get a commission. They also benefit. So this is a wonderful idea of working. I'm sure some of our students will one day come forward with a better idea even. We expect like a son is worthier than father, and father gets pride to see his son or daughter is doing even better. We expect you'll be doing better. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman of Canadian University, Bangladesh, President ICPC, MD Monem Group, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, our faculty members, and dear students with these viewers. Once again, thank you so much.
Such a great motivational speech of this morning. Thank you, sir. Now, it's time to hear from our Honorable Chief Guest. I would request our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Bill Potter, to deliver his keynote speech.
Well, thank you very much. Oh, all right, you adjust that for me. You know, I started teaching in October of 1972. So when I returned for the World Finals here in Bangladesh, in Dhaka, I will have taught for 50 years in university. That's very weird. You matter. The greatest gift that you can give yourself and your friends and the community is to have purpose drive your life. You've heard of great institutions, but it takes citizens to build institutions. And you might wonder, so what is a citizen? A citizen is a person who, when they walk down the street and they see a bit of litter, they pick it up and put it in a trash can because they're citizens. A citizen sees someone who wants to succeed and they have the capacity to assist them, and they render that help because they can. When I think of these two great nations, they symbolize what citizens can do together. COVID accelerated the development of information technology by at least a decade. Information technology will be what you make it become as citizens. And I want you to know that I'm not going to be able to be around to see what you did 50 years from now if I understand the nature of my Maker's plan for me. But I have confidence that that world that you build from the bottom up as citizens will be extraordinary. There has never been the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of opportunity, where the natural resource of a community are the souls of the community. And let me explain what that word is. There was a great thinker, a person named T.S. Eliot. And there is a story of T.S. Eliot and a discussion toward the end of World War II where people were wondering whether some people didn't have souls because of their behavior. And when they turned to T.S. Eliot, they asked him what his opinion was, and he said, "I don't understand the question." And they looked, and he said, "You see, I don't have a soul, I am a soul." So couple that idea with the idea of citizenship, and prepare yourself to be all that you can become, because that's the path of happiness. And ask yourself each day when you start the day's work, don't we all want to be happy? And work in that direction. Now, one of the ways that you can be happy is to know that there was a guy who's even older than me. His name was Aristotle. And he was asked once about a term called excellence. You've all heard it, right? Yes. Yeah, excellence. And he said you can't achieve excellence, because excellence is actually a set of habits you develop. You see, the habits that you develop are most quickly developed through coaching, through practice, through rehearsal, through performance, repeated, with others that have the same goal that you have to fully develop into people that others can trust and depend upon. And that's one of the reasons that you come to college. Now, I'm a granddad, and I give you permission officially for one of the other reasons. I want you to have children. Got that? It's the only way that we get grandchildren, right? Now I believe in the principle of locality, so I'm not going to describe how that happens or how it should happen in your life. I'm leaving that up to you. Okay? But I tell you that if you have a strong family and commitment with each other, built on trust and recovered trust. Do you know the best friends I have in life are the friendships that were not just made but remade? That anybody can have a friend who's always trustworthy, but can you be trustworthy? And can you recover from trust broken? That takes really courage to do. It's not always possible because people have to come together to make that happen. But believe that there is such a thing as redemption. And there is such a thing as mercy. And there is such a thing as kindness. And there are ideas that have stood longer than most civilizations. You may go back to a person named Micah, who wrote in a Bible that I treasure, in chapter 6, in verse 8, that, O mortal, you know what God wants of you. To be just, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. We could spend the rest of the year trying to figure out who God is from our perspective, but we need to spend that time figuring out who we are and what we love. So, as you progress through your schooling, do it because you want to be happy, you want your friends to be happy, because you matter, to find that purpose that helps you move forward and make a difference in your life. And remember that the old ways of doing things all have reason behind them. But they are actually technology too. And some of that technology doesn't work anymore for you, a connected, educated citizenry of the world, 8 billion cousins strong. So you will need to build the institutions and to preserve the institutions and to strengthen these institutions for those children, okay, whom you will serve in a time much quicker than you could ever imagine. Perhaps this is not the message I was supposed to give. You know, I am an old Texan, and I certainly should be talking about the ICPC, the International Collegiate Programming Contest. But so let me just take a few minutes here. I promise I'll finish in 10 minutes, but I won't promise that a minute will be 60 seconds.
Maybe more. We don't count.
So it's a good idea, you know. I have no sense of time. But when I look at ICPC, it started over 50 years ago, and because it was fun. It was also something that helped people rapidly become really good at algorithmic programming. Back at a time when we didn't even know what algorithm was. And when I look at that community of 400,000 alumni across the world, they and their friends and their friends' friends built all of this. All right? And they did it with the help and the expertise and the knowledge of people who were outstanding in business, okay, and in law, and worked through all of the challenges that we have to be able to actually deliver to other people the benefits that we can invent. And so, before it became illegal, sorry about that, troll the internet to try to find out a little bit more about our community. And I'll tell you about 30,000 of them. I actually have information beyond that, but I'm not sure I'm supposed to share it, these days. You have to understand that when I was your age, there was actually nothing called intellectual property in our area. So I always follow the law, but sometimes the law doesn't happen until afterwards. So I apologize for anything along this line. But there was no evil intent whatsoever. It was simply out there. But when we looked at that 30,000 records of people who were ICPC alumni employed, they were in over 1,000 companies. Nearly 2,000 of them were founders of companies, CEOs of companies as well, thousands of chief technology officers, 3,000 college professors, 2,000 data scientists when data science wasn't a science. Got this? The number one company in terms of this 30,000 was Google. It shouldn't surprise you because Craig Silverstein was a world champion in 1993 from Harvard. In 1992, Craig's team, which included the founder of Zappos, a great researcher in Google search, and Craig, the first chief technology officer of Google, placed 7th. But someone told me they placed 6th, and we gave $1,000 and an award to the top 6 teams. So I invited the Harvard team up, thinking they were 6th and they were 7th, only for somebody to race up at the last minute and said, oh no, they're 7th. And so, do you think I could just tell them, sorry, Charlie, you need to go sit down, do better next year? Nope. I just thanked them for their performance and announced that they had finished 7th and would receive $1,000 and a trophy that still had to be manufactured. And I turned to one of them, and I believe it was Craig, and I said, now, since I'm going to fix this for you, I want you to come back next year and win the championship. And he did. And in 2005, Craig contacted me and offered to pay for the travel of all of the teams to the World Finals in Beijing. Isn't that cool? And they weren't sponsors. However, they sure recruited a number of those remarkable, talented people, and that's why you have Google today. But what you might not know is this. Guess who was number 15 on that list? Uber. Number 15 in the world? Well, there's sort of a reason why Uber works, isn't there? All right? And what about SpaceX and Tesla? They have more ICPC alumni than NASA. Well, guess who runs NASA, I guess? You see, when I looked at that, I was amazed. And one of my friends is a venture capitalist out in California. I said, hey, do you have the top 100 venture capital companies in California so I could just check this database? So how many of the top 100 venture capital companies in California have ICPC alumni working for them? 100. You see, in addition to being able to understand that something's a good idea, you have to have some people who understand how to deliver it. You see, it takes a community to solve problems. There are a bunch of other things that I could tell you about there. You know, that Disney was in, you know, had 200 and every segment that you can imagine of the modern world has a significant number of alumni out there. And so I'm just trying to get across to you that one of the reasons that we have the ICPC is that if your fellow students perform better, then guess what happens? You perform better too, right? And you may actually outperform them. Great. But if you don't, you know who they are, right? So form a company and hire them as Chief Technology Officer. Google did. All right. Now, that said, okay, I could share a number of other stories with you, certainly, in time. However, you'll end up being 50 years older, you know, if you listen to them all. I want you to understand that there is a pathway forward. And when you look at difficulties that you believe that people cannot overcome, if you can listen more carefully, speak from your heart, and slow down the process, when the process is going awry, and give people the opportunity to trust and to recover and to restore their purpose, then that's a blessing too. So it's not only what you do to build a better world that counts, it's how you restore people to want to make the world a dream, a beautiful dream for the future. Okay?
I would like to request our honorable guest to receive the flower bouquet from our students of Canadian University, Bangladesh.
Oh, thank you.
I would request the guests please have a seat. Feels like this morning got its purpose. We are really honored to hear from you, sir. Thank you for your wise words. We really always appreciate your support for Canadian University of Bangladesh. Now, I would like to humbly request our powerhouse and guardian, philanthropist, educator, and a brilliant entrepreneur of our country, Mr. Chaudhry Nafis Sharafat, founder and chairman of Canadian University of Bangladesh, to deliver his valuable speech.
respected chief guest, President of ICPC Foundation, Professor Bill Poutier, our senior professor and advisor, Dr. M. Zohrul Haq, Managing Director of Abdul Monem Group, Mr. Mainuddin Monem, and our respected faculty, Barrister Mahbubur Rahman, respected faculty members and journalists, my dear students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and very good morning to you all. I'm delighted today to be able to celebrate and rejoice 50 years of friendship of Bangladesh and America. Ladies and gentlemen, there have been innumerable bonds forged between the people of the Bangladesh and US over the past 50 years. Let me highlight a few instances. Bangladesh generosity and humanity in responding to the Rohingya refugee crisis in example to the world, and led by our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The United States is the largest international donor of humanitarian assistance to Bangladeshi host communities and Rohingya refugees. Working with Bangladesh on a durable solution to the crisis was one of the top priorities at the United Nations US Embassy in Bangladesh. Our economic partnership grows every year with two-way trade, reaching a record $9 billion in 2019. The United States is the largest single country export destination for Bangladeshi products and remain the largest source of foreign direct investment. American companies built Bangladesh's first liquefied natural gas import facility, helped dredge the nation's mighty rivers, shared technology, and transformed Bangladesh into a digital nation, and now provide world-class airplanes and locomotives to facilitate trade and travel. We work together on climate change, peacekeeping, regional security, educational and cultural exchanges, and so much more. The friendship between the Bangladesh and US grows stronger and deeper every year. Without further ado, I'd like to end my speech here. I would like to thank all distinguished guests for joining us in this seminar, and special thanks to my team for arranging such a remarkable event for a very short period of time. Thank you very much, and thanks our chief guest for visiting us. I'm just, if anything we can do together with ICPC, requesting to our Honorable President ICPC, Canadian University of Bangladesh is glad to do that. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much.
I can only say this, that I use the term president, but I work for the community. And the community is a competition among the universities of the world, and I'm delighted that the Canadian University here is an ICPC university.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
We love to partner with ICPC 2020.
Absolutely.
My heart is with ICPC for a long time.
We will figure out how to do that. We simply want this to be the greatest world finance.